Welcome back to another episode of Expat Rebel. Today, I'm going to share with you Ecuador murders are amongst criminals. China's buying out Peru. Conde Nast Traveler has a bunch of top 2023 articles that I liked. The USA FAA is not shutting down. 6 places in Mexico where you can live for under $12.50 US a month, and more expat news. I created this podcast because I believe that being an expat is just not for everyone. And that a lot of expat advice out there is unrealistic. So I'm delivering news, motivation, and advice that will make you an excellent expat and enjoy a better life. And because I know you're busy and won't take up too much of your time. Are you wanting to become an expat soon? Then go grab our Expat Rebel guide to becoming an expat in 30 days over at expatrebel.com/30. And if you love what we're doing, please join us over at expatrebel.com/join. We're a community and would love for you to join us. All the articles I mentioned are in the show notes, so let's get started in today's episode. I'm having a little bit of a problem with buying some electronics in Mexico right now. Never really had this problem before, but my Apple TV Siri remote quit working completely. And the rest of the Apple TV works great. But I went into it's an Apple store in Mérida, Yucatan, Mexico here. It's called iStore. They're affiliated with Apple. I was aware of it, of them and everything. They're licensed somehow. We're not big enough to have a full-blown Apple store, so we have a few of these. And some of them are actually quite big and nice. It looks exactly like an Apple store. And they're not selling the remote separately. You have to buy the whole thing, which I'm not real happy about. And then I go to Amazon Mexico or even Amazon US to get it, and they won't deliver it to me, probably because it has a battery in it. I've had some problems getting things with batteries shipped to me. I went to a bunch of other stores in the mall and asked around, and it just doesn't seem like you can get just this one item, and then I look like I may have to buy a whole entire new Apple TV to solve this issue. I could get someone in the US to buy it for me. I got relatives and friends there that could do that, but then they'd have to DHL it down to me, and there'd be the import tax. I've done that before, and it's actually high when you do it just yourself. When Amazon Mexico or US does it, they're pretty good about the fee being pretty low, so I don't mind. But when you do it personally, it's pricey. And so it'd probably be actually cheaper to just buy a new Apple TV 4K. So I'm looking into that. I just wanted to give you some heads up on some of the inconveniences you have when you're living in a foreign country full time. All right, let's get some travel news. The US government's not shutting down. The FAA is going to not shut down. I didn't really doubt that, but it was interesting. I think last episode I talked about that, about the FAA actually shutting down and how unlikely that was going to happen, but they averted a shutdown completely by signing some type of deals. Of course, a lot of things like that really never get shut down, but I found that interesting. Here's an airline that's getting rid of the overhead bins in first class, Japan Airlines. They just added some private first class suites for their long haul flights. And so instead of overheads, you get like storage closet, and it's really fancy. Conde Nast Traveler has a few top 2023 articles that I found nice. 20 destination spa resorts and best cruises as well. And best resorts in Central America. Some really great places to go see. And there's an adults only resort opening nearby here in Quintana Roo near Cancun. And I'm seeing this trend more and more. Adults only means that it's just no kids. And so you can lounge and drink and enjoy the beach and whatnot without having a bunch of screaming kids nearby. I'm seeing this as a growing trend because there's people that want that. I switch over to expat news. The government in Ecuador has mentioned that most murder victims are criminals. Yeah, the criminals are killing other criminals. It's true. There has been an increase in murders in Ecuador, but it's important for the public to realize that most of these crimes are criminals killing each other. And that's true in Mexico and probably a lot of other expat-friendly countries and everything. They make the news, people get scared. And in some cases, it's legit. And there's some places I wouldn't even go in Mexico, wouldn't even drive through some places in Mexico. And then there's others like where I live, Yucatan State, where it's just quite honestly safer than the US, believe it or not. The US is worried that China is buying control of Peru's seaports and electrical grid. Yep. It's an issue. Chinese capital has acquired a lot of electricity mining and other companies, and it's a worry. It may actually affect expats, and that Peru could be not so expat friendly in the future because of all this. We'll have to see. I just thought you should guys be aware of that. Awesome. Love this article about what age you should start Swedish death cleaning. Yeah, it's a Swedish thing where as you get older, you start getting rid of stuff. I did some of that when I moved to Mexico. And there's also, I have another article here about someone's mom did the same thing and just putting her lot in order. This lady's mom, it's a Swedish thing. I can't pronounce it, but it means death cleaning. And it's a gesture of love for those you leave behind. You start to go through all the hoarded junk and work out what is of use and what should really go. It's like Maria Kondo downsizing for the later years. People that are like her, if this doesn't give me joy, get rid of it. Like that, but as you're getting older, you just downsize a bit. I found that'd be true when I moved to Mexico. Of course, some years later, I bought a home. I live here. I have my own home here on the beach in Yucatan, and I did buy some stuff, of course, to fill out the home and brought some things down and all that. But it was nice to slim down a bit before starting up again. And I just got what I needed for my beach home. Just got what I need. Another article is about the 5 blue zones where the world's healthiest people live. Nice article. Plus, it talks about the new Netflix series that I watched and loved it. I got a lot of great tips from that about walking a lot and gardening, and a lot of things you can do in your everyday life to live longer. Costa Rica tourism industry is alarmed by the rising crime. Yeah, a lot of the Mexican crime type of people have moved on to Costa Rica because it's not so friendly in Mexico anymore. Criminals, actually, and it's gotten better. And some places are worse in Mexico, but some places are better. And so some of them have moved to Costa Rica and Ecuador, like I talked about earlier. And they're concerned, the tourism industry there is concerned that this is going to affect their tourism. It hasn't yet, but it is something that is on their radar. And the local police forces are doing some things to fix that. There's a whole article that goes into all of that. Next up is the Mexico expat news. Since Mexico is the number one place to retire out of country. And I got a nice article about 6 places in Mexico where you can live for under $12.50 a month. A lot of great places you can go. Also, I have an article about an alert for beach house rental scams here in Yucatan. A lot of the advice they have in this article really applies to anywhere you go. Most of their advice recommends property owners use formal contracts, establish the specific purpose of the rental and responsibilities of the parties. A lot of people, they just don't do that. It ends badly. Municipal police officers are being trained to fight extortion in Playa del Carmen. Now, this is a major problem in Quintana Roo, Mexico, and for quite a long time, actually. I used to live in Quintana Roo, in Playa del Carmen, actually, and a couple other places nearby as well. And so this is especially good news to really wipe out that. The corruption is really high there and other places in Mexico, and something like this is welcome good news. A couple lighthearted articles. A Mexican woman was detained at Los Angeles airport for a bottle of chili. They suspected her of drug trafficking. And I think the people understood that a lot of Mexicans, including myself, having lived here a while, do travel with a chili bottle because we need to fix food up when we're traveling for us overseas. And that includes the U.S. And I think she laughed about it and whatnot because she knew there was not going to eventually be not a problem, but had to show that it's just chili. The security people should have known better. It wasn't a chili bottle and all that. And yes, it is common for lots of people to travel with their favorite chili. And a cute article about a little street dog, Milo, who was adopted by a gas station in Oaxaca, is now a rock star. He went viral. It's a good story about a homeless dog working at a Mexican gas station and how that worked out. Yes, there's homeless dogs and some of them actually start working. And it's just a cute story. That's it for today's episode. Hey, thanks again for being part of Expat Rebel. That would just not be possible without all of you. We're building a positive expat community, and we're here to support you. If you enjoyed the podcast, please leave a review. We love hearing from you. And if you would like a weekly newsletter to go along with all this, go to expatrebel.com/newsletter. Also, check out how to become an expat in about 30 days over at expatrebel.com. It shares how it went from idea to moving to a foreign country in about 30 days, and also shares how you can save about $3,000 on mistakes that I made within the first month. See you guys next time. Bye.